Hey, I'm Joel. I play bass, and I guess we can just jump right into it. I should technically be playing 5 strings, but I guess because I'm small and I never really learned on a 5 string, I developed a way to sort of play 5s in 4 string version. So this first one's actually just a standard bass, but I have it in drop D, D, E, A, D, G. And I personally love as heavy as possible for string gauge, so it's quite heavy for most bass players. It's a 115 through a 50, so really high gauge. GHS, been using them for about a decade, and I think I go through strings quickly enough that sure there's differences in tones and stuff like that, but for me these stay bright for a couple shows. I change them out and they sound great. Really good tone. The core of the string stays really solid for me. They don't really, a lot of times strings I'll put them on and the string itself, the way that I attack the string will rotate, and it's a sloppy feeling. These are very tight, the core's super tight, so love that. I played Fender Jazzes for a long time. Just prior to that I had a short stint with Music Man, so I remember loving the soap bar style, Music Man style pickup. So about a year ago, I saw one of these basses online. My Geddy Lees that I had were black, shiny black, and I had them blacked out. I had changed all the hardware to be blacked out. So when I saw this, it obviously reminded me of what I already loved. Called Dean up. They ended up having these in their factory, and John Palumbo at Dean was amazing. He sent me basses to try out. We ended up landing on this one. I really liked it. Changed a few things, electronics. I've known and used Bartolini's for a long time. The magnet isn't exposed, so you can really attack and it doesn't get clicky and that gross kind of like spitty sound that some bass players love. I personally don't love it, so put Bartolini's, they're passive Bartolini's in there, and active electronics. It's 3 bands, really great sweep through their bands of EQs. I found a setting that works for what I like, the most even. I used Badass bridges for a long time, but these come with an ABS bridge, and I think it's a German-made bridge. It's cast, it's solid, really strong. Pulls the tone right through the entire bass, really even across the fretboard, no dropouts whatsoever. So not crazy heavy for being a pretty meaty bass. It's got pretty good weight to it, but not insane. Volume wide open, only because it's a single. Just completely wide open volume. First is treble, and I have it completely flat. There's an indentation, you can't really see it, but you can feel it. So when you're rotated to the center, it just stops and locks in place. So treble I always have completely neutral. It seems like, I'm not positive, it seems like it's upward 5-6K and up. It seems like when I sweep above, and then it's cutting if I go below it. So I just leave it flat because I just like it that way. This is a mid-range. I think it's probably hitting somewhere 300 to 600. I don't know for sure, and I have it wide open because we're a 2-piece. So between the guitar and the bass, I kind of want to eat up some of the mid-range space as well. So it's completely wide open all the way to the very end. And then this is subs bass, and I have it sitting again completely neutral like the treble. So these two are off. This is wide open. So just to get a bit more mid-range. When we talk about pedals, you'll see why I do it that way in correlation to the EQ that I have coming out of my pedal board. So again, 115 through 50 in drop D. This is a twin bass that looks kind of exactly the same because it in fact is. Same pickup, same bridge, same electronics, everything. Only difference is, like I was saying in the beginning, we do a lot of B, A, and C songs. Couldn't do that without a 5-string technically. So this, Tim Comerford, Rage Against the Machine, audio slave, longtime fan of his. I had heard that he had set up one of his 4 strings to in fact be like a 5-string minus the G. So I took some time on my Fenders and figured out a way to file out the nut, put a strong enough nut on there, file out the bridge, make sure the bridge could hold it without causing too much pressure on the neck, enough relief on the neck, so to say, and then found that I personally liked 130 through, I think it's 70. So 130 through 70, same GHS brand, except these they don't sell because they're just so heavy from the custom shop. They hand put them together in little packages for me and send them to me. So this is a normal set. It's called Extra Heavy. This is completely custom string set. Same deal with this bass. I don't know what it is about the EQ curve, but I have this one set indented again, so neutral, wide open in the mid-range, and completely neutral on the sub-frequencies. So I used the Peterson for years, and then Andrew flipped to the Polytune. I heard it, used it a bunch, and kind of fell in love with it as well. That way we're both tuning exactly the same, which is also pretty important. But I found that it's bright enough. The Peterson's reverse image, and I couldn't see it, especially outdoor festivals, summertime. Plus this tunes really, really well. So again, same as Andrew, obviously with bass, I'm not using the Polytune, I'm just using chromatic. Works great, no problems with it whatsoever. From there I go into, this is an Aphex pedal, it's discontinued. It used to be called the Punch Factory. It was an orange pedal, a lot of people liked it. Circuitry is based off of the original Aphex 204 rack mount unit, which was called the Big Bottom Oral Exciter. Optical compression. For me with bass, I think compression's important to keep everything nice and tight, punchy bass. Problem is, I tried every compressor under the sun and none of them sounded good. I could hear them compressing. I don't really want to hear that. So I landed on optical, heard a bunch of different opticals, and could still hear them. This Aphex, I can get up to 20 dBs of reduction and I can't hear it. There is no pumping that's happening. I think it's a cool sound if you're looking for it, but if you're not, if you want just good even sound. So when they discontinued them, I went on eBay and Guitar Center used and bought as many as I could. Fingers crossed that I don't blow through all of them and eventually I'm screwed. So from there, goes into the second section, which is subharmonic synthesis. I run it straight up the middle. You got three different options. I run it up the middle for bass, obviously. It doesn't really change that much. It changes the curve a little bit, but it's fully sweepable, so you can kind of like play in between. I found straight up 12 o'clock for me. I'm boosting in and around 70, somewhere around there. I'm boosting at about 5 dB. I'm not using any of the top end excitement because it's not really needed. It's more like, that'd be amazing on like an acoustic guitar if you were doing kind of a really bright, silky sound. That high frequency can bring that out. Plus there's really not much use in the bass world up and around 6K. You're usually high passing there anyway, so. Okay, so from there comes out, goes into, this is a Union Tube and Transistor sub-fuzz. For years, I toured with the original Big Muff. Actually, it's like a second edition, so early 70s Big Muff. But if you turn a muff on, obviously it's 100% wet. It affects your entire signal. And so for me, I found that I couldn't get any really great definition still, and you lose all that tight punch in bass. So I was running a Boss Line Boss Line Selector, so an LS2. I'd run the muff into it, and then I'd come out the opposite side, 50% clean, 50% wet, so that I could still get definition, but at the same time have the fuzz. Essentially, Union Tube and Transistor put that into a pedal. They copied the same circuitry that's essentially in, except made a little bit more bass forward, so you keep a lot of sub. That's why it's called the sub buzz. Really, really good, solid sounding, really good kind of fuzz bass. But prior to doing that, I jumped there. I'm sending a Jensen transformer DI straight to front of house. So essentially he gets my compressed sub signal clean, straight to front of house, DI, which is about 80% of what you hear outside is that. Then it becomes affected, goes to the cab. I use a Boogie 810 cabinet, and we'll mic that cab, and they'll blend that fuzzed signal in. Probably 20-30% will get blended back in, so that you can have the drive from it. So from there, it goes into the head, which is a little tiny guy, which is shocking in 2016. I used Boogie's, I've been with Boogie for probably 15 years now. I used to use their giant 400 plus tube head, which has 12 6L6s in it, and 6 12AX7s, I think, or 4 12AX, it doesn't matter, it's full of tubes. It's a tank. I was constantly going through tubes, obviously, because the road, like, you know, beats it up. And I never found anything solid state that sounded good until a year ago. they released this D800, which is more wattage than 2 Ampeg Classics in one, which is crazy because it goes with me everywhere. I fly with it. And then I use a DW500 wireless. I have been successful with it. I've had similar problems to Andrew where I had a Line 6 for a long time. I would have dropouts. This so far, you know, I've had 0 problems with. Good news is with it, I just can, if I'm having problems, a bad show, I can pop my 1/4 inch straight out, plug directly in and be ready to go without having, you know, a huge problem. It's kind of why I like having it so close to me as well. This has been fun.
Yes.
I know Andrew's had fun.
I've had a great time.
I've had the time of my life. 1000footkrutch.com.
You can get wherever social media from there.
From there.
1000 Foot Krutch.
Thanks for hanging with us. If you have any questions, hit us up on socials. If you want to go deeper than what we've gone today, we can answer any questions for sure. But yeah, thanks for hanging with us.